Hey, Brandon Reyes with AXCEL Archery, and today I'm going to go over the new variable range sights with you. A lot of cool information. I'll try to make it as short as possible, but there's a lot of stuff to cover. So, as you can see, I got both recurve and compound, and I got a bunch of different sights on the table here to show you the different configurations that can be achieved with the new variable range sight. So what's new with the variable range Achieve XP 1.5, which you see here, and the 2.0 that you see here? The biggest, some of the biggest features of this new sight is that it's 30 to 40% less vibration. So that's big when you're extending a scope out on the outer, as far away from the bow as you can, like in a recurve situation, or with the growing popularity of heavy scopes on the compound side. It's very important to improve the balance, like we've done with this sight, by keeping the head of the sight in the center line with the bar here. So with the new variable range plates, which you'll hear me refer to multiple different times, these are the variable range plates. I've got the recurve here, which is the longer one, of course, to be able to attain more distance from the slower recurves. And then I got the compound version, which is the shorter version. The only other feature that is new with the variable range XP is the new dual bridge technology bow mounting bracket. So this can only be used currently with the VR plate, and you'll be able to tell that when you get yours and you look on the back, there's a cutout that specifically fits the VR plates. So it's not able to be used just by itself. Keep an eye on that, keep that in the back of your mind, that if you're going to purchase this for a sight that you already have, it'll come as a kit with both items. So those are the new things about the variable range XP 1.5 and 2.0. I want to show you how they work on the bow. And I'll start with the recurve just because there's not as many things to explain as there is on the compound side of it. But I also want to throw out there that we've got this chart that makes it real easy for any of you that shoot any type of aspect of archery. You can see the check marks will tell you whether or not you can achieve that max distance with whatever aspect of archery you're using. This is on our website. This is our 2023 product guide here that you can find it in also. So you'll hear me refer to that as well throughout the video here. All right, let's start with the recurve. As you can see here, I got my sight set up, and this particular one is the 1.5. In most aspects of recurve archery, you'll be able to use the 1.5 to attain 70 meters, whatever distance you're shooting, with the exception of field recurve, where you could potentially shoot 80 yards. You might have to graduate up to the 2.0 version, which a 1.5 and 2.0 version is available for both recurve and compound. And I'll show you the main difference between those when we get to the compound side. But as you can see here, I got my VR plate already attached to the bow. And you can see that I've mounted it with the bottom two holes. And you can see on the VR plate for the recurve that there are 3 holes. So right now I've got mine on the bottom 2. So that's going to allow me to push my sight up for an 18-meter distance tournament. So now I can keep the head of my sight in the center line of my recurve compound carbon bar here with it in that position. I'm 1 hole from the bottom. So it's important to reference the holes and also understand that 7 marks on the engraved head space here is 1 hole if you were to drop it or raise it, depending on which direction you want to go. So refer to the engraved marks on the sight the head of the sight, if you need to make adjustments, and it kind of helps you understand how much you need to go in both directions. So in this position, like I said, this is going to provide me the ability to keep my head in the center for an 18-meter or a single distance tournament of 20 yards. So now I'm going to show you how to drop the bar down. It simply takes a 1/8 Allen wrench, and I'm going to, first I'm going to remove the actual screws from the bow mount bracket, just so you can see how it all goes together. And you can see my bracket attached to my side of my riser. So now I'm going to take these 2 screws and loosen them. And this is going to give me access to my plate. And now, to be able to attain a a longer distance tournament with a say a max distance of 70 meters. I'm going to move my bracket, my VR plate here, to where I'm going to mount it with the top 2 holes. So now you'll see that I have more range to the bottom side of the bracket here. So now I've got that tight, and you can see now I have a lot more range down lower. So when I raise my bow, that's going to be able to help me again keep the carbon bar in, or the head of my pin in the center of the carbon bar. So now I'm going to mount my bracket. I'm going to go one up from the bottom now. And this still gives you adjustment if you need to make it, if you need to drop it down another hole. And I'm going to tighten those up on the bracket and show you what it looks like once I've moved this whole unit down. So now, as I mount my sight and lock it down, the distance you can see here from my stabilizer to the bottom of my bar is a lot smaller, so this is going to allow me to achieve a longer distance tournament and still keep my pin in the center of the carbon bar, for instance, 70 meters. So that's the recurve side. Let me show you the compound. I got several sights set up here, and you can kind of see what I was referring to as far as the sight tapes. But again, I want to show you on the compound. This is my sight that I have set up for 20 yards. So shooting Vegas, this was my setup to where, you know, the sight is in the middle of the carbon bar. I'm using a 6-inch shorter bar and about you know, in the middle of the spray of lines, there's 3 on behind and 3 in front that you can adjust from the position I'm at. But again, you can see that my variable range bracket is mounted to my bow in the higher position, or my bracket is mounted in the higher position of the VR plate. And you'll notice that there's only 2 holes on the compound version, just because the speeds are much greater and the distance needed to attain is much smaller. So you can see I'm mounted in the top holes. I got my sight in the middle. So this is what I would consider a nice location for 18-meter tournament, 20-yard tournament, you know, whatever you're shooting with a relatively close distance. So again, it's just like the recurve. I'm going to, although I don't have to take the plate completely off of my bow, I'm going to take the bracket off of the plate here and slide it down to a lower setting and show you that should I be shooting like a, let's say 60 yards, which is close to our 50 meters / 60 yard field max now. So I dropped the plate to almost all the way to the bottom. You can kind of see here. I'll kind of reference it off to the side here. I'm going in the second hole from the bottom. So let's put it on there, tighten it up. So put my other screw in here, lock that setting down. Again, I've got a hole down below should I need to make that adjustment if I need a little bit more or didn't go far enough. And now when I slide my bracket in, I've now dropped down several sets of holes, which again refer to the lines that are engraved on the side of the head here. 7 lines is 1 hole setting on the VR plate. So that just as a quick reference, you know, once you sight your marks in at 60 yards and say your sight is at 37 on the engraved scale, then I'll know that if I move my bracket down 1 more set of holes, that'll put this right in pretty close to the middle of the bracket where I want it. Again, it's a quick reference that allows you to, you know, to know where you need to be set on the VR plate to attain that distance that you're shooting at that particular tournament. Again, if you want to set this up and shoot a multi-distance tournament, depending on how far you're shooting and how wide your sight tape is, like this sight tape on this particular bow is approximately 290 feet a second. So you can see that it's relatively small from 20 to 80 yards. So you want to try to keep that in the sweet spot, that tape in the sweet spot of your bar to achieve the design behind the sight and making it less vibration and more in a inline setup for the archer. So again, leave approximately 3 full rotations of clicks, which is 3 lines on the scale for yourself for adjustment, whether you're shooting in the rain. We're constantly moving pointers. With that, you got to have adjustment, or you got to have room for adjustment. So keep that in mind when you're setting your VR sight up, and make sure that you are able to get it a couple clicks or a couple lines here or there should you need it. And again, the whole purpose of the Achieve XP VR 1.5 and 2.0 is to be able to allow you to have this adjustment in the VR plate to keep the sight in the middle of the actual carbon bar. So if you need more information on any of our VR sights, which are new for 2023, again, reference this application that we have printed out for you already in our brochure or on our website. And our website is www.accelsights.com.